Malaysians achieved or reclaimed their democracy, not through violence, but through the ballot box. And Malaysians have finally spoken and overcome every crooked attempt to contrive an electoral result. And that's what makes this victory so incredible. Clearly there are lessons for the new government. The new government will stumble here and there because they're inexperienced. Apart from Dr. Mahathir and Anwar, I think, and Returns, I think there's no one who has experience in terms of government. So that will take some time. But the new government must remember how it won and why it won. And the people undoubtedly will give you time to adjust and take account of your inexperience, but they will not tolerate you becoming another barrister. Will not stand for that. They now know that their power is in the ballot box, and they will take it away from you as quickly as they gave it to you. And should this government revert to its old authoritarian and corrupt ways, Malaysian people will not stand for that, because it's Malaysia alone that has turned away from authoritarianism. Look at the other countries in the region: Cambodia, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, all marching towards or to the sound of the authoritarian drum. But this country turned in the opposite direction, towards democracy. But it's a fragile flower, and it's something that needs nurturing, and you mustn't starve it of its key nutrients. Clearly, of course, there are many parties involved in the new government, but I suppose you feel confident that under the leadership of the Deputy Prime Minister, Citizen Anwar and Tun Mahathir, that this country will flourish once again. But it's Anwar really, through his courage, determination and unswerving belief in justice, and that the people would ultimately see him through, who has emerged from being a political prisoner to a Prime Minister in waiting. And it wouldn't have happened without his vision and his sacrifices. But he hasn't done that alone, of course, for there are many in this room, and particularly his family. Family have suffered over the last 20 years, but have never wavered in their love and support of his ambitions and his dreams for this country, and they have been active participants in that process. So you should all feel lucky that you really got a whole family in terms of their commitment to this country. And it wouldn't have happened unless the people shared and wanted to share his vision for change. So this is the story. Obviously, I'm going to commend the book to you. I think you should read it. The Deputy Prime Minister was just telling me how much she enjoyed reading the book in detail, and yes, you go. And you are going to be given some books free this evening. You seem a bit underwhelmed over it. Before I conclude my remarks, there are obviously many people I wish to thank. I want to thank Dato David Yeo, and the late Michael Bong, without whom this probably wouldn't have happened, because they were keen and determined that this story should be told. And also Neural, who said to me, look, you're doing these reports, they really should be going into a book. Everyone should know what has happened in this country. And I suppose if you think about it, unless it was recorded, it just would have faded in the mists of time. And Mr. A.K. Kamara, who's really put this together, has ensured that a number of copies are going to each university within this country, so that students in the future will read and know what actually happened. And can I say this, that to Mr. Kamari has really been the driving force of this event this afternoon, and I think we should express our appreciation to him as well. Importantly, Marshall Cavendish, they're the publishers of this book, and they're the publishers of my first two books. They have given enormous support, because remember, when you're in opposition, of course, no one really wants to know you. You can't really do much for them. But when you're in government, of course, everybody wants to know you. So publishing a book about Anwar Ibrahim's trials and tribulations really wasn't guaranteed to be a bestseller, and I suppose it wasn't, because there were lots of efforts made not to sell it. Booksellers would not take the book into stock because they were worried that there would be repercussions from the government. So in the second book, Marshall Cavendish actually sent the books undercover and released them in the stores before the government could grab them. So that sort of commitment and that sort of support is very much appreciated, because without publishers, of course, stories are never told. And may I give a special vote or expression of thanks to Lee Mei Lin, who's the associate editor. They're the publishers there. That's the publishers' table. Without them, this wouldn't be happening. And Mei Lin's English is much better than mine, and it's true. And she bashed a whole lot of reports into some understandable narrative, one would hope. Also, may I also thank IDE. This is the second time they have sponsored this event. They sponsored the last book launch at the Royal Selangor Club, and that support is very much appreciated. And you should support them as you should. Good. I want to thank also Anwar's legal team. It was led by Gobu Siram, who's here today. Here he is. A thankless task to stand before the Court of Appeal and the Federal Court, knowing that no matter how eloquently you argue, and no matter how much evidence you present to the judiciary, they may nod when you're talking to them, but they're shaking their heads when they come to making their decision. And he fought valiantly with a great team of defence lawyers, and is in the great tradition of the bar. And also Kapil Singh, great. Kapil Singh was a great Malaysian patriot. So sad that he is not here today to see what has happened, to see what's happened in GE14. That man had an unflinching commitment to the law and to justice. He would see so many friends and comrades here, and he would be very proud. I was asked by someone who interviewed me, what lessons can lawyers in Malaysia learn? And I said, well, and model should be Kapil Singh. He never flinched. He never took a backward step. He wasn't scared of anyone, certainly not judges. And he told them so. I think Anwar was well served by having such a great man who refused. I can say Anwar, because it's in the book, that Anwar sent his brother along to pack Kapil, and Kapil told him to leave because he didn't want to be paid, because he was doing it because he wanted to do it and it was the right thing to do. That was the calibre of the man. So, I should say also, there were some prosecutors like Dr. Yusuf. There were some prosecutors who were prepared to see me as someone other than the enemy, because I tried to be as impartial as I could, and if I agreed with something I said so, if I didn't I also said. But as I look out today, I really say this is your book, because this is your story. I am just hard to be independent knowing what's taken place, but I've tried to reduce the facts and of obviously my opinion so that all of your stories could be told, that you never forget what happened and to ensure that it never happens again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.